When we're in college, of course we have to study to achieve what we want to. But there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. And if we do it the wrong way, we can severely jeopardize our enjoyment of college and how much we're getting out of the experience as a whole. Now, if you give me a couple minutes, I'm gonna tell you the 2 biggest study mistakes that will sabotage your college experience and how to avoid them. And now the first mistake is thinking that studying more is intrinsically better. And you see this mindset all the time, especially among students who are working through harder majors. This idea that if you want to do well, you have to study as many hours as humanly possible, regardless of how productive the actual study sessions are. And this is perpetuated online when you see these videos like 8-hour Pomodoro sessions, where people are doing nothing but working for 8 hours straight. And you see these videos online and you don't question the actual efficiency of the work or how productive they're actually being. You just see the time frame and think to yourselves, if I'm not working for this long, then I'm not being as productive as this person. And I've always said this is a major mistake, because when we're studying, the work we have to do will fill the allotted time that we give it. So if you have a certain amount that you have to study, if you give yourself 8 hours to study it, unconsciously, you're gonna disperse that work over the entire 8 hours, and the study session is gonna become much less efficient. Well, if instead you only study for 2 hours and get good focused work done, your brain's gonna be much more focused on the essentials and what to actually focus on with that limited time. The more is better mindset is such a problem because it sacrifices so many other things that we could be doing with our time and instead prioritizes work and studying over everything else. And this is not only a waste of time, but it's also very bad for our mental health. Because if we always think that studying more is exactly what we need to do, when we're giving ourselves time off, for example, to hang out with friends, go to parties, go enjoy ourselves, go to events on campus, it's very easy to feel guilty, like you're not doing enough, and like other people are surpassing you by studying more than you. Now, to challenge this mindset, what I would recommend is that next time you're studying, if you are the kind of person who thinks that the more you study, the better, I recommend that you try to cut your study session down to a little bit less than what it usually is. Say to yourself, I'm gonna focus on the essentials, and I'm gonna study until I know all the necessary information, and then once I know that, I'm not gonna study anymore. There's no sense in studying extra hours of just tangential information if you're getting most of the basics, if you're getting most of the essentials by studying for much less time. And if you experiment with studying in a smaller time frame and just focusing more as opposed to dispersing all this random information and all this random study content over a super long study block, I think you'll notice that you just have more time to do other things, explore your hobbies, passions, whatever else you want to do. And I think you'll realize those extra couple hours that you were tacking on to the end of your study sessions weren't really doing you that much good. And now the second study mistake is honestly one I don't think I've heard anyone else talk about online. And this mistake is studying to compensate. And this is exactly what it sounds like. When we're lacking in other areas of our lives, and when we're insecure about other areas of our lives, it's very easy to use studying as an escape. So for example, if it's the weekend and maybe there's a party that you're invited to, but unfortunately you do have a bit of social anxiety, as opposed to confronting that anxiety and working through it, it can sometimes be easy to say to yourself, you know what, I have too much work, I have to study, I can't go to this event anyway. And essentially in this case, we're using studying as a tool to get us out of things that make us uncomfortable. And this kind of mindset is also fueled by similar toxic study content online, where people are always making studying out to be the end-all be-all, and it's the main thing we should be prioritizing. So a lot of people might get into this mindset of thinking that they don't have much else going for them, so if they're not studying super hard all the time, then they're essentially wasting all of their time. As opposed to exploring different hobbies or maybe branching out socially, people will tell themselves that they're not good at these activities anyway, and they'll try to minimize the importance of these activities by instead saying, I have to study, studying is my priority right now, I'm not gonna do anything else. And I can 100% say I've suffered from this mindset in the past. So for example, if there was an event I was a little bit nervous to go to, I'd tell myself, I have to study instead, I can't go to this event. Or if I was plateauing in the gym, I would tell myself, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm focused on my studies right now anyway, that's not something I should be concerned about. But if there are areas in your life where you do think you're lacking, that you do feel like honestly you could be putting more work into, but instead you're convincing yourself that studying is the only thing you should be focused on, and that you can kind of just put all these other activities and realms of your life on the back burner, this is a surefire way to procrastinate dealing with these problems, and it leads to studying being more of an escape as opposed to something we're actually excited to do, which isn't great for us. And I think the way to address this issue is just being more mindful of when we are studying to get out of other things. So for example, if you are a bit nervous socially and you find that you sometimes have trouble meeting new people at different events, taking some time to actually go to events like this and push yourself outside of your comfort zone as opposed to resorting to the mindset of, whatever, I'm too busy, I need to study anyway. Pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and addressing these areas that might be slightly lacking is a great way to make sure we're studying when we actually need to, and that we're not just unnecessarily studying because it's more comfortable than going out and addressing something else. So again, the two problems I've mentioned in this video are: one, studying unnecessary amounts of time because you think more is better, and studying to compensate for other issues in your life that you don't want to address because studying is just more comfortable. Now, if you can address these problems, and if you can become more conscious of when you're doing each, and become better at spotting out when you're doing these things, your college experience as a whole is going to become so much more enjoyable. Because first of all, you're giving yourself more time to do other things, activities that you actually enjoy. You're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. You're making yourself proud by improving other areas of your life, trying out other activities, and just getting yourself out there and being you. Now, I hope you can find this information useful. If you like videos like this on studying and mental health for college students, I really recommend you subscribe. There's going to be a whole lot more videos like this soon. But until then, I'll see you guys.